Hello everyone, welcome back to Looney Bin. My name is Looney. I want to talk to you today about a certain topic that I've seen people recently talk about, and it comes from this idea that if you don't want Aerith to live by the end of the remake project, you're not an Aerith fan, or like you don't understand the story. Like, you want Aerith to be happy at the end of the remake project, but if you want her to stay dead, you hate her. You think that she should stay dead, that they shouldn't even try to revive her in some form or way, that's not her happy ending, and so on and so forth. That kind of discussion. And a lot of people have had debates on it, mostly in regards to, what the word fate means in the remake project. Does it mean changing Aerith's fate, right? Myself and others have stated that it's not necessarily about Aerith, but essentially the fate of the planet, because according to everything the developers have been saying, is that they're going to respect the OG storyline. And in the OG storyline, Aerith does die, right? She dies, and through that, she's able to save the planet by, combining with the live stream, using the live stream itself to protect the planet from meteor because Holy fails. And a lot of people want to, justify it in saying that, well, why can't they change Aerith's fate now? What does her dying have to do, with that at all? She could stay alive, she could come back alive, and she could still accomplish what she did. There's a slight issue with this, and I'm going to go over in this video, and just essentially why I don't necessarily agree with that, as well as Aerith's death is part of the OG storyline, and it's a very important part, right? But before we get into that, I just want to say we all wish and want Aerith to have a happy ending. We all want her to just somehow find a way to stay alive. There's no question about that. We wanted her to stay alive, during the OG, but we countless times have tried to find a way to save her. People replayed the game several times. People have tried every single method that they found online to see if they can change, Aerith's fate in the OG. Fans have been trying very hard, but there's just no way. Even developers have said and commented about how, like, oh yeah, we tried, think of like ways to make Aerith, live and survive, and like, they discussed it with their friends about how they could make that possible. But the reason why they don't, and the reason why they never had an option like that in the OG, is because her death represents a great theme in the game, and that is about life. Life in general is great, right? But life can also have unexpected things happen, such as death. What the developers wanted to portray is that you should live life to the fullest, right? Because you never know what happens tomorrow. You never know what happens in an hour from now, right? You never know what happens. So that's why you should cherish life as much as you can, because it can be gone the next day. Cherish, your family, your friends. Spend time with them, because you never know when that just goes away and that disappears. It's one of the most heartbreaking things that could ever happen to anyone's life, when something that they hold very dear all of a sudden is gone and they cannot get it back. That is part of the themes of Final Fantasy VII, which is life and death, right? And I understand very much how much people love Aerith. Aerith fans love her so much, right? They want her to stay alive in the remake project. I get that, right? But the core theme of it is life and death, is that you have to accept that death can happen. Death can happen in a very unexpected way. Aerith didn't go to the altar to die. That I also saw and seen that, type of statement before. She didn't go there to die. She was expecting to continue living her life, right? She wanted to summon Holy. She wanted to get the white materia to help, save the planet that she loved. Right? She wanted to go back to her friends. She wanted to continue living life to the fullest, go see the world, continue to do so. But life is unexpected. And death came out of nowhere because Sephiroth came down and killed her. Right? That is a message about life, that stuff like that can happen instantly. And that is what the developers wanted to convey. Did they originally want her to stay dead? Probably not, but at the time of like early developments, they were thinking about just having one character, right? One heroine of Final Fantasy VII before they split that one character into two because they made a decision to showcase the theme of life and death by creating a character in Aerith who had the sexual lore, and then creating another character in Tifa who will play that heroine role that essentially helps Cloud find his inner self, the real Cloud. And both of these characters play a pivotal role in the story. Very important roles, just different types of roles, right? But the death of Aerith plays a huge part in not only the themes, but what happens later on in the OG, in the game. When Cloud and the others go and stop Sephiroth, who is preventing Holy from being activated, they are finally able to defeat Sephiroth, right? But Holy gets casted way too late, and the meteor is just too close to the planet to stop. So what happens? Aerith, right, essentially uses the life stream and summons the life stream to prevent meteor from destroying the planet. That's what happens in the OG, right? And that is important. Why? Because while Aerith could stay alive, can she, have access to the life stream like she does in the OG? I don't know that. Because we clearly see, especially in the remake project, that she can be in tune with the life stream in very sort of ways where she can use it slightly. But can she use it to its full effect like she does in the OG? You see, that is a questionable, debate to have. Could she have or couldn't she? Did she need to be connected straight and directly into the live stream in order for that to work? That is a debate you can have, right? I don't think that's something that people would essentially have an agreement on, because you could either decide whether or not she could be alive and use the live stream eventually, or she needed to die to be connected to it. Me personally, I'm on the side that she needed to be connected to the live stream in order to use its effectiveness, to be able to really, really connect with it, fuse with it, so that then she'll be able to use it to stop Meteor. And I think that is another big role that plays in the whole thing with Aerith's death. Not only is it about the major themes of Final Fantasy VII, but it also plays a role in how the rest of the story, or the ending of the story, I should say, more specific, because you don't necessarily interact with Aerith at all past the altar scene where she dies, right? The only time she appears again is at the ending when she uses the live stream. And yeah, I mean, it fits both the theme and what happens at the end. At the end of the day, Aerith is the one that saves the planet. Cloud and the rest of the party kill Sephiroth, or stop Sephiroth, to then allow Aerith to be able to use a live stream to then save the planet from the meteor. That is just the Final Fantasy VII story in general. And I get that people want her to stay alive, that the fate that the remake project has been trying very hard to try to get people to really play the games, that the fate is Aerith's fate, right? I get that. That's why there's theories of the multiple worlds and all this stuff. But it doesn't really work if it's trying to connect to not only Advent children, but also with the idea that they're trying to keep the original story intact in this remake project. Remake doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to change everything about the story. It just generally means that you're remaking an original story in a brand new way. Maybe new type of technology is available to you. You're remaking that story once again. You're putting changes into it, but not the type of changes where it drastically changes the story. I get it. I would love to see Aerith survive somehow. I would love to see it. But I think one thing that is very important, especially, and this is really for the shippers out there who really want Cloud and Aerith together, right? If you do want Aerith to survive, right, the chances that Cloud and Aerith do become canon may not actually happen, regardless, right? And there's also this whole debate that if you keep Aerith alive, then you have to keep everyone else alive. Zack will have to be alive. Biggs will have to be alive, right? All these characters will eventually just come back and be alive, right? That is one of the conditions then that you would have to place if you bring Aerith back to life. That means that everyone who died in the live stream has to come back too if you want it that way. But you only want Aerith to survive. I get that, right? But it would really drastically change the themes and the lessons that we learned from Final Fantasy VII. It's frustrating. I understand that. I have had characters that died in stories that I really loved and wish they would come back. But the main thing with those type of story ideas is that it's better to keep the character dead or remain dead, right? Because it adds more to the character arcs of the characters are alive and feel the sadness of that character's death. It adds more depth to them. It adds more humanity to them to make you feel the same way, especially for people who probably have lost loved ones. It connects with them because they understand that's why it hurts, right? I understand there are stories like Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball is completely different from like a story like Final Fantasy VII. The point I'm trying to make is that if they decide to make Aerith somehow survive, they would have to do it in a way that makes sense, that it would not contradict the themes of Final Fantasy VII in some form or way. Death can come in unexpected ways. We can continuously deny it. It's part of the 5 stages of grief. But the last stage is acceptance, and that if Aerith does remain dead, it's perfectly fine to accept that what her role, what she wanted to do was nothing more than to protect her friends, to protect the planet and the life that lives on that planet. Because Aerith as a character cherishes those things. Even if she has never met someone on the planet, she would still want to protect them, because that's just who Aerith is as a character. That is who she is. If you saying it because of some shipping reason, that's not good enough. It's not, because it's like the only reason you want her alive is to see your ship become canon. But that what does that have to do with the main story, the main plot? This is why when people talk about shippers only thinking about shipping things, this is one of the things that they mean, right? You cannot like force shipping logic into what the main story is, because at the end of the day, the main story is about the planet, the live stream, life and death, and trying to stop Sephiroth from destroying the planet, the same planet that Aerith cherishes. So that's why when people talk about shipping goggles, this is what they mean. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. Apologies for the camera. The camera is doing weird things because it's trying to accommodate the bad lightly sourced room that I'm in, so I apologize for that if you see something weird going on with the camera. But thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys later.